professional development training. This is something that we do every month, and we have a professional in the field of remote work or business or various different topics come and talk about the different things that can make you a successful remote worker or a business or entrepreneur or something like that. This is hosted by the Utah State University Extension's Rural Online Initiative or Remote Online Initiative. We have designed these meetings to educate people in different skills with regards to best practices for remote work or personal professional skill development and other impacts of virtual workspaces. The Rural Online Initiative is designed to prepare rural communities for the future by offering relevant educational experiences, connecting people with modern employment opportunities, and developing innovative solutions for community needs. We have two certification courses that we offer. We offer the Remote Work Professional, which is for people who are looking for work or looking to start businesses, or for the individuals. And then we also have a Remote Work Leader certification. And where this presentation today is for businesses and individuals as well, there's a lot of benefit for both sides of this, on both groups on this presentation today. These courses have been nationally recognized for innovation, economic development. And if you've not taken one of our courses, you can go to remoteworkcertificate.com to register. If you have any questions, feel free to stick around afterwards and we'll answer any questions you may have. So I'm going to put in the chat the agenda today, and all right, so just a few announcements. We have a couple really cool things coming up in December. We'll get you more details as we finalize these, but we are looking to do another remote job fair in December. We also will have two professional developments. One of them is kind of a series that we're doing, which is a personal finances for remote workers. That is done through some of our extension colleagues. But we also will have one on December 7th, which is a gentleman that I met in a meeting a while back. He does a lot of stuff with virtual meetings and virtual engagement. So this will be great for businesses and as well as for professionals. So there's going to be some good things coming up there. We also have our remote tea, which is almost a weekly thing now. Is that correct, Dom? So if you want to learn a little bit more about some of our leadership options, we have remote tea. Do you want to tell a little bit more about that, Dom?
Sure. Yeah, it actually, we run it every week, every other month. So we run it on the months that we're not teaching the leadership course. So in December, we'll pick it back up. But because the November course will run into December, and then there's the holiday season at the end of it, we're probably going to only end up doing one, maybe two remote teas in December. So anyway, we'll put the announcements out about those, but they're good discussions on topics of leading remote teams and how to make sure that the right culture is there, and motivation and avoiding burnout and all those kinds of things.
Perfect. Thank you, Dom. All right, and you know, if you have taken our course and you found it helpful, we would love to have you refer your friends and family to them. Even if you're out of state, refer them to your out-of-state program that you took or you signed up through, and we'd love to have them in our course. So our next class, our November class, actually starts next week, and today is the cutoff day for that. We did have a little system issue, so if you want to register for the November class, you will need to actually register for the January class and then send me an email. I will put my email in the chat, but send me an email to let me know that you have registered and would like to take the November class, or if you know somebody that wants to take the class at that time. All right, so just for a check-in, if you can kind of put in the chat where you're calling in from and how did you hear about this event? Just so that we can get to know everybody a little bit better, and Christine can see where she's visiting with people. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Christine now. Christine is our guest speaker. Christine Hanks is one of the directors of the Snow College Small Business Development Center. She spends her time working with individuals looking to start a business or those who have already started businesses. She covers 6 counties here in Utah. There are several small business development centers throughout the state of Utah, and outside of Utah, it is connected to the Small Business Administration. So she'll probably share some information where you can figure out your local state's small business development centers there. She loves the unique challenges of running a business. She's a certified strengths coach and thrives on empowering others through their strengths. Christine's background is in social work, and she loves how this skill set has helped her clients. She started several businesses over the years, for the past 25 years, and she's currently running 2 as well. So she loves spending time with her husband, boating, camping, fishing, and snowmobiling. But if given the choice, she would hide away in a bungalow on the beach with a pile of books. So thank you for coming, Christine, and we look forward to your presentation.
Okay, thanks everybody for attending today. So as he mentioned, I'm Christine Hanks from the SBDC. I'm actually located in 2 of our centers. So we have one in Ephraim and in Richfield because of Snow College being located on both campuses. I do cover the 6 county region for those that are here in Utah, but we do have 14 or actually 13 locations at this time that you can tap into across the state. So if you're located in Utah, there is probably one close to you. For those that are outside of Utah, I will go ahead and show you some of the resources that are available. So what is it ideally that the SBDC can do for you? Well, it all depends on what it is that you are trying to do. For anybody that maybe has an idea for a business that they'd like to start, or they're great, come in, let's talk about it. We can do some market research to see how viable that would be in your area and see what that sort of business is doing across even the state and sometimes even across the country. Because some ideas are great and sometimes we find out that maybe right now is not the best time for that particular thing. We also have, I spend a lot of time with businesses that jumped into the middle of studying a business and then forgot that there were steps that needed to be taken prior to doing that. And so we do a lot of backup, fill in some of those gaps for things that they might have been missing. And I don't know about anybody who's run a business, but your first time in, it's baptism by fire, and it is a lot of hard work. And if you don't have somebody in your back pocket, it's even harder. So that's what we try to do. So I'm going to share some of my screens, show you some of the resources that are available as far as my SBDC, the one across the nation. So there are SBDCs located in every state across the nation. And then we're going to look at some of the SBA resources. If there is anything specifically that you would like me to address, please put it in the chat. And Trenton, if you can kind of just let me know, that would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen at this moment. So we can talk about these. Okay, so when you come to this screen, it's utahtsbdc.org. You get to see, let me move this off of my screen here. Okay, you get to see kind of some of the resources that we have. The video that's playing in the background are our businesses of the year that were selected actually 2 years ago. But this is where you can come and see our current success stories as well. But if you would like to receive consultation, which is free, which is a wonderful resource, everybody likes free. You come into this schedule resource or free consultation. It'll show you right here where each one of those locations are across the state. You would then select the one that is closest to you. And then you would go through the registration process. Some of the other resources that are available for business startups or even just businesses learning to enhance their skills. We do have this Entrepreneurship Academy, and I am going to get us logged in so you can kind of see what it looks like. Okay, so from right here, we have a lot of resources that are available. There's startup resources, growth, continuity, succession, and so forth. We also have podcasts that are available that have been done on various topics as that would help support your businesses as well. And so you can come in here and go through this Entrepreneurship Academy or watch any of these videos and gain more knowledge as to how to run your business. As far as the America's SBDC, here we are right here, and you just simply have to type in your zip code below. We'll go ahead and give it a try. And you'll click on Find an Advisor. And it will go ahead and show all the places that you can get in Utah. So it's going to show you this. So wherever you're located, this is going to put you in touch with all of the particular SBDC locations that are available to you. They also do have resources, as mentioned. As Trenton mentioned, we are tied in with the SBA. That is where the majority of our funding comes from. Most of us here, and I have noticed that across the nation, are housed within college or tech communities or tech colleges across the country. And then there's all kinds of things that you can look at here. As far as the SBA is concerned, when you go to sba.org, you can also find us here as well as other resources that are available to you. There's funding programs that are available if you're interested in those things. I have a lot of people that have come to these and then they're like, I don't get it. So they end up in my office anyway. We talk about certain things when they're looking for capital to start a business or to grow their business and expand it, as well as, you know, when COVID happened, the PPP was crazy. So we were busy helping with all of those and the EIDL loans and those things that have happened. So those are the basic resources for the SBDC, and each center has their own little, their own websites, usually with additional resources that are available. So the trainings that I usually hold for my 6 counties are held specifically on my particular website. Which usually when you come in and you select a site, it should be taking you to their, we'll just slide through here, to their website so that you can see what additional resources may be available. So, and then hoping these things will work right here. Yep. So this is where all of my stuff is at. These are my resources that are available to businesses, as well as when you come to my beginning page. These are the 3 programs that I overlook or I take care of, and then the trainings that are happening within my communities. Okay, are there any specific questions? It looks like, let me just see if we have anything. I would, as far as I'm aware of, for the videos in the Entrepreneurship Academy, they are technically free. You would, when you sign up for the SBDC, it gives you that exact that access to it. But I'm almost positive when you, let's come right over here and come back up to this little screen right here. You can just sign up, but I'm thinking you're going to have to select a location. So actually, I'm going to have to say that would be a difficult thing to allow. But that is something that Utah themselves has put together. I would imagine that across the country, there's other things that are available. I just don't know the specifics to the states that are there. Let's see. Do you have a feel for how extensive SBDC programs are in the states besides Utah? They run a lot similar to how we do here in Utah. We get together every September, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of us all together across the nation. So I know, and they talk a lot about the resources and the things they have, and I'm like, okay. seems like it's pretty standard across the country, the things that they can do there. So let me show you some of the things that we can cover, which I would imagine would be for everybody. So some of the things that we can actually help you with. We do not have funding. So that is one thing that I want everybody to understand right now, is that the SBDC does not hold its own pocket of funding. We cannot offer that to businesses, but we will help prepare you to get ready. If funding is your thing and you're looking for that, we will help you prepare to go to the bank or wherever it is that you need to be to get that particular funding to get your business either started or to grow your business. But we specialize in a lot of these different areas. We have some areas that are more specialized than other areas, and we will actually tap you into those other resources. So it's not like, if I don't understand international trade, not my specialty, I know who does. So then I can get you to where you need to be. I love writing business plans. I know that's absolutely crazy, and who likes to write a nice 12-page paper, but that's really what it is. It's a nice research paper with some persuasion in it, is what we call a business plan. So it's doing your due diligence and really telling whoever the funding source is exactly why you want to run your business and how you see it functioning and working then and in the future, and how you plan to scale it. The startup assistance, a lot of people take that as funding. That is not really where that particular piece lands. But we have a lot that come in that have no idea how to go on and file for an LLC or to get themselves registered, or how do we get our tax IDs, because we have employees and we now need to report to the state. We need to report our sales tax to the state. So we can guide you through a lot of those procedures. As far as the management and leadership, I have spent a lot of time with businesses talking about why they're struggling to keep employees. As you've noticed, employees just kind of seem to hop around anymore because of the way, if you're not paying them enough, they kind of tend to go. So sometimes we try to think, how can we keep them here? And so we do a lot of things that kind of can help you structure and make that experience within your business very positive for the employees that you do have. Finance and capital, we have people, we can talk about those sorts of things, get you ready to go to the bank. We can look at your financials, see maybe where you might have some gaps or some holes in there, or where you can improve. Marketing and sales, I do love the whole marketing side of things. That's one of my very highest specialties, is in marketing, as well as, I guess, writing those crazy business plans. Customer relations, so you can see the things here that we can do. I would imagine across the nation, this would be the same at all of the SBDCs, but you would have to reach out to them and ask them for that. Let's see, what are some of the other questions we've got in here? Okay. Yes, and they can point you to resources for sure. Thanks, Trenton, on that. There are a lot of other particular areas in other, and I know scores across the nation too, where they will put you in with mentors and things like that. And so we won't just keep you with us. If we know there's a better place that's going to help service your business, we'll make sure that you get to that particular resource that you need to have. Okay, did I miss any of the questions in there, Trenton?
No, I think you got the questions there.
Okay.
One thing that I was going to ask specifically, and maybe you were already going to cover a little more in detail into custom fit and STIT.
Okay, let me do that really quick. I don't know how custom fit fits outside of the state of Utah. I don't even know if it's available outside of the state of Utah. And let me tell you, and it could be. Custom fit is a pot of funding that I actually do have that I like to spend on companies. When you pay your business taxes, that's exactly where this funding comes from. And so it allows me to give that back to you. It allows a business to come in and each particular area, in fact, have it be, I'm sitting in St. George even right now, waiting for our custom fit conference with all of the centers that run that across the state that I'm going to be hosting for the next couple days. So let me kind of go back to, let me see, everybody has their own little way. So let me kind of explain how that works for those that are within my 6-county region. So every company has a need. They need to be trained. They need to keep their employees trained. They may have somebody they brought on that they're going to now have take over a piece of maybe they're going to do their social media. Maybe they're going to do their bookkeeping. It could be just a myriad of things. And so that's what you'll see some of my trainings for on my page. We have a lot of healthcare, and they always need to have their CPR recertified. That's what keeps their businesses going, and some of those things. And so they use those particular services that we offer. So you come in, you register your company with me, and then you come in and you tell me, I want to attend this training. What can you reimburse that at? And across the state, it can be reimbursed up to 40 to 50%. So that can be very significant when you have found a training that's $700, takes a huge toll on your business, especially when you're starting. You finish that training, you show me that you paid for it, that you completed it, and then I will send you a check back for what we agreed upon. So that's how custom fit works. The short-term intensive training, which is STIT, is usually the umbrella funding that we use for businesses or for individuals that are not in business. They're looking to upskill themselves. They're looking to, basically upskill themselves so that they can either, one, get a better job, make more pay, or to actually even start a business. And then once they've started that business, we put them in the custom fit funding umbrella for that. So you go onto my little link, apply for what it is, and then I create a contract and say, upon completion of this, I will reimburse you. So there is some skin in the game. There are some areas that will contract with larger businesses, and those custom fits may actually bring the trainer in and pay it and that sort of thing. But in my rural community, it's pretty hard to get the trainers to come to me. So as people go out and they take those trainings, we can do that reimbursement. Custom fit is for for-profit businesses. And so that is nonprofit, doesn't usually fall under my umbrella. I have been able to make special allowed to help them. That's a better way to say it. But I have to actually get approval from the president of my college to do that. So it depends on the situation and the circumstances that those fall under. But it is for profit because you're paying the taxes that benefit the program. Let me see, is there any other questions, Trenton, that I might have missed? No.
Don asked one about what are some examples of businesses you've helped recently?
For like all of the above, or just for the SBDC?
All I was just thinking in general, and I saw some listed on that on the SCORE website, but I was just curious as to what kinds of startups are happening.
Okay. So in my area, I have done startups with people doing bookkeeping or accounting. I have helped startups. I actually have helped a company that does soap. You would think that is the weirdest thing. They're a manufacturing company. They started out and so they've done that. So I do a lot with manufacturing. I have done business startups with people, you know, as simple as just as small as they're wanting to do dog grooming. Okay. And then we have, and so I never tell anybody, no, you bring that idea and let's talk about it and we'll see where it goes from there. I've helped individuals who start holistic health avenues. I've done all kinds of different businesses. We're working with a group that's doing, beef processing. So it doesn't, it all depends on what's going in the area. We've done food truck businesses, all sorts of different kinds. So just because there's not one business that we wouldn't help. You come in and we'll help you get where you need to be. Even if we have the beautiful resources through the SBDC, if you're registered with us, that allow us to tap into our marketing specialist, where he can pull the most amazing data that helps us feed your business plan. So you really know who your competition is, what you can expect to make that's kind of standard across, and it really helps build those business plans to be more viable when you head to the bank. So we have a lot of great resources that you can tap into through the SBDC. So there isn't just one set business, it's anybody. Any other questions?
I'm gonna let, just in case there's somebody that wants to ask a question, but I did have one. But
Okay.
Does anybody else have a question they want to ask first? So I'll ask my question. What is the cost of this?
It's
I know
free.
the answer, but yes.
It's free. So as I'd mentioned kind of at the beginning, we're absolutely free. So people will often say, so how much is it going to cost me? And they will still say that, even though they're registered. Yesterday, I'm probably one of the very few SBDC directors that will help businesses develop their websites, but I specialize in that. And so I actually had one yesterday. She was struggling and I teach them, so they have to maintain that. So if they can't maintain it after we're done, they need to hire somebody else. I'm not maintaining a website, but I will help them get those up and going. And I had one yesterday, and she kept saying, how much do I owe you for this? How much do I owe you for this? And I said, because you registered for the SBDC, I get to help you do these kinds of things. Not all of the centers have that specialty or that ability to do that, but I've spent up to 3 or 4 months writing business plans with people. So it's not like I'm going to say, you're going to come in, I'm only going to give you a couple. Some areas may have more restrictions. In my area, I will handhold you through the process. And at some point they let go and they do really well on their own. So it is frightening to start a business. So it's really nice to have somebody you can call and say, have you heard of this? Have you thought of this? Can you help me look at this? And so I really actually truly enjoy what I do. Watching people have their dreams and then watching their dreams succeed, or watching, even sometimes I've had some businesses. I had a bakery that wanted a path that she thought she was happy with, found out she wasn't. So we pulled her back and then restructured the way she wanted to go. It doesn't mean if it doesn't work out that it isn't still going to work out. We just might have to look at it differently. And so we do that a lot. Okay, so I was asked, what are some of the most important details to include in your business plan? Financials, financials, financials. If you cannot sell the bank, when you're going to start making money, how much your products are going to cost, and we look at that. I'll have somebody come in and they'll say, well, I'm going to sell this for this. And I'll say, okay, so how long did it take you to make that? And they're like 5 hours. And I says, and you're going to sell it for $10? Those are some of the hard conversations we tend to have, that sometimes we undersell ourselves. So we don't want the bank to look at that and say they're not going to survive. So your financials are huge when starting a business. Your team structure is really important on your business plan. If you say you're a one-man band, the bank is going to just shake their head. You'll die. It doesn't mean that they're people you're paying. So I always preface that, not always people you're paying. But if you know somebody who can help you with your accounting and you're not good at that, put that down. A lot of times people will put me as a resource on their team. They know they have somebody that they can tap into constantly as they're trying to navigate their business. And so it all depends on who's going to be in charge of your operations or your marketing and your sales. If you can't tell them how you're going to market in your business plan, then you're not ready. So all of these areas really need to be very well outlined. I always tell them, you write your executive summary at the top. And that's done last, because by the time you filled in all the gaps, what you thought you were doing may have changed as you have structured it throughout there. If you do not have your operating plan fluid on how you're going to do things, how you're going to collect money, how you're going to review things, who's your management team, marketing team, whatever that is, they want to know everything. But your financials, if they're lacking, they're numbers people. They will read things. They want to skim to page, whatever, look at your financials and see if you're serious or not. And so those are I have startup templates. I have just regular 1-year projection templates that we look at. I actually have a gal that I work with closely in one of my SBDCs that I will oftentimes send that off with permission to her. And she'll say, we're missing that. She's a financial guru. So she's really good to send back and say, they're going to veto this, this, and this, or we need to add this, or Did they forget that they need to pay themselves? So those are some interesting things that we run into, but we've done them. I've pushed through and helped. Not all of the time will it happen, but most of the most extensive ones I've done a $1 million one that we pushed through. A bank that was exciting, took months to write. Another one that we just did was a startup, and I was really proud of him for how he did it. And we got 100K, and that is not something you hear of, but he did have the collateral backing, which also helps out as well. But his business plan was solid, and the bank really thanked him for that it was solid. They knew his plan and how he was going to make money and get that money back to the bank. So let me see what some of these questions are right here. Do you have one person? Oh, a lot of my businesses are a one member LLC is usually what they end up being. And then we help them grow and expand, but they'll come in and they're like, I'm ready to hire. Now, what does that look like? And so then we'll start that process with that as well. Some businesses start out and they have employees, and we start running as fast, just like that. But a lot of them, it's one person coming in with an idea. So a one person small business, yes. I'm great at coming up with ideas for business names. I wish that was successful enough to be successful, right? Okay. Can you help guide people through getting a trademark? I found that it is pretty confusing. I have never actually done the trademark side of things. I've never had a business that have asked me to walk them through that. I know how we can check on that. And I know usually a lot of times when you get to the trademarking, it can require the legal side of things. And so we have a few areas where we can refer you to where you need to be to get the help that you need for trademarking your products or your services. Any other questions?
I've also, one thing that I've, because I've asked people about the trademark thing. And I have my brother-in-law has like patents like crazy. He's got all sorts of patents and trademarks and different
And they
things.
usually go through lawyers. So I do know patent lawyers and that sort of things, and we have a set of those resources. But when it comes to legal, we have to wash our hands. If it's a legal thing, we're going to send you to the specialists that absolutely know the legal end of things. When it comes to accounting, I can look at things, I can talk about things, but when it actually comes to the accounting structure of things and your taxes, when it goes to sending, same thing. That is not our specialty. We will send you to the specialists or help you locate a specialist that can help you in that area. So we will never offer tax advice. We can say these are things we've seen, but you need to follow up with an accountant or you need to follow up with a lawyer and make sure that that structure or what you're doing is correct and legit. A lot of them will call in and say, what are all the write-offs? Well, call an accountant. They'll know specifically for your business what is it. We can do standard things that happen every year for every business that's set up, the things that you can write off, but there may be something that they'll know that we won't know. So.
Let's see, have one more question. I have one more question actually that would be good. What are some of the biggest reasons businesses fail?
Okay, so this is some of the things that I see where businesses may fail. One, they're not starting a business they love. And I know that that might sound crazy, but when it gets really hard and it is not something you're passionate or that you absolutely love, it is easy to walk away from. It really, really, truly is. So if there's not that you can't start something that you don't love, that can happen. But I've seen more than not, they're like, I didn't like this anyway. And then out they go. Two, they do not understand how to deal with their financials. They don't understand what capital means. Like they'll say cash is king. I always say cash is king. So they have all these POs out. They don't have a single penny coming in. They're waiting for that money to come in, but they can't pay their employees and they've just gone out of business. So they do not understand how important it is to have cash on hand to help while those things come in. So we talk about, I have a lot of times when businesses come in, They give me their 10-year plan and they want the 10-year plan immediately. So anybody who wants to start out at the 10-year plan will struggle. So we try to bring it down and dice it down into smaller pieces where we can say, what's the leanest thing we can do to start your business to see if it's viable and that it's working, without putting a ton of financial investment into something we're not even sure how it's going to go. Because you don't really know when you start a business, you have this big dream, this big plan. And sometimes we want to head to that final thing, and we needed to take some baby steps and learn some things as we grow. I spent a couple of months ago, I spoke with the Swig owner. I don't know if anybody knows who they are. She's located in 50 states. Absolutely amazing woman. And she had talked about her story. She had said that they started out with these 3 philosophies and they stuck to it. But every time they started something, if it hindered those 3 things, they pulled it away. And so she slowly started adding things as she was going to her menu and the way they did things as they were growing, instead of trying to start big and then wish they had just started right here. So this was working. Now, what could we add to grow and scale our business? And so she would slowly add things, and the things, I mean, she's pretty set in stone where she's at now. And every once in a while, they'll throw something new in there. And if it takes away from great product, great customer service, and fast service, if it eliminates the fast service, she rethinks whether that's because that's what their business is based off of. So you really need to understand, why am I doing this? And that's kind of where that business plan is so crucial. Why am I here doing this? And oftentimes with startup businesses that I have, I will make them write a business plan, whether they're going to the bank or not. And they're like, what? And I'm like, this will really help you understand, am I where I need to be to start a business? And a lot of times businesses that do fail are the ones that jump into the middle and forget all the groundwork that needs to be built up to get to where they need to be. So there is a lot of things to look at. I'll have some people that will literally come in and will fill out just my little simple template that's really easy. Just ask some basic questions. And they're like, I really don't know the answers to 4 of these things. And I'm like, okay, then let's not start today. Let's fill in those gaps to make sure you really have that fluid understanding of how you can really see this business going. So I think sometimes they can fail because we're running faster than we think we need to be. And that starting small is okay. And cash is king. Once the money's gone, the business is gone. And that's really hard when I see businesses in there, you know, they're on the verge of dying and they're like, I need more capital. I need more capital. But it's really hard to go to the bank when their financials don't show that they're making anything. And then the bank really struggles with that. So my thing is to scale and lean. Lean is good. Start as small as you can and build upon that. And then you can find success by building upon the things that it's easy to eliminate when it's small than to eliminate when you're so deep into it, it's just over. So I hope that was helpful.
That was great. Yeah, there's one more question in the chat. So JM says, I have an online business in another state, but now I'm in Utah. What do you recommend would be the best? Should I register the business as foreign business or out-of-state business, or close the business in the other state and register it as new in Utah?
I think it all depends on where you're paying your taxes to. I think is kind of something in that arena. I have businesses that are based here and they're actually located in another state, and I help them because their business is actually located here, and this is where the taxes are coming from. I have never really had that question. I don't have that happen very often. I'm thinking though, when it's located, if it's online, it should be available to be run anywhere, because e-commerce is e-commerce. So I have some businesses that are located locally that sell all over the country, but when they file their taxes, but they do have their tax IDs and their sell tax IDs across all those other states, so that they're making sure that those are getting paid to each one of those states. And that's a whole different setup that can be done, but that's a lot easier than people think it is. But so I think if you're actually paying your taxes within that state, you could possibly just register within that state. Yeah, you're right.
Let's see, JM, did you have any other follow-ups on that, or did that answer your question?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Excellent.
And I'm imagining JM, it's probably just e-commerce, right? Or is the online business specific to that state?
It's been dipping into a little bit into like service-based as well.
Okay,
So some of the services have been done here in this state as well. So
okay.
it's just kind of, it's kind of do that. Yeah, for
So
me.
if you're okay, JM, if you want to send me a little message with your email address, I would love to follow up on that and get that
Okay.
out to you. if
Sure.
that's
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. My name's Jamie, by the way. Sorry.
Jamie, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Christine.
I just hate to assume things or call you something wrong, so.
No, you're fine. Thank you. I'll private message you. Thanks.
Okay, sounds amazing.
Thanks.
Okay.
I actually knew your name. I just sometimes don't want to
Oh, no worries.
dispel the name if somebody doesn't want it to be dispelled.
It's okay. Thanks, Trent.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions, or is there anything else that you wanted to cover, Christine? Or
I think that's, fairly basic, especially since we don't have, not everybody's here in the state of Utah. And so those resources are available to you. There are a lot of great resources. I cannot say that the SBDC is the only resource that you have. I'm a firm believer with my social work background. If the therapist isn't working, go get another one. And the same thing, if you come in and it's just not where if you find another resource that works really well for you and that's what's working well for you, great. But it also doesn't hurt to maybe even be registered amongst other different resources, because we will collaborate and work together, and then you don't have to worry about, so maybe what does Christine know? Okay, I'm going to send you over to the Women Business Center if you're a women business owner. Although I spend an awful lot of time doing women in business. I run 4 specifically in the state of Utah myself monthly. And so I do have a lot of those resources. But if I know they have a program that's going to be very beneficial for you, I am going to send you there. Doesn't mean I might not trail along with you and learn and support you through that whole thing. But there's a lot of really amazing resources. So you don't have to feel like you're just stuck with the SBDC. If you get into with SCORE, that's a great resource. There's venture capitals, some of those resources that are out there. If that's where you're headed and that fit is good for you, we're going to send you there. And then I'm one, and I've heard a lot of my other directors that will say, I'm going to follow up with you on that and see how that's going. So even though we may let go, doesn't mean that we are going to just cut you off. You're done. You're going to SCORE. See you later. So we will stay in contact with you and make sure that you are successful. So.
let's see. Oh, we got one more question. So while I'm ramping up after my LLC setup, I need to do some 1099 work that is unrelated to my LLC. Can I manage the work under the LLC, or do I have to set up a different entity?
Well, I think that would all depend. This is a question that sometimes I would say even ask an accountant, those questions per se. But if this was me and I was doing 1099 work, which I do as well, that is totally separate from a business that I run, I just file a separate Schedule C. That's based off of that business, and it all depends on and depending on the business, I run that as one of mine is run as an LLC and one is run as a sole proprietor. So I think it just all depends on if it's not related to it. Ask an accountant. They might just say, meh, we'll throw it underneath there, but they'll be the ones that will tell you that.
So one thing that's a benefit as a 1099 is that company, if you are a 1099 and you're getting a 1099 from that company, that income is already reported to the IRS. So it doesn't necessarily need to go into an umbrella business. You're going to be taxed the same pretty much either way.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, when you just go in and your accountant, mine just does an extra Schedule C if it doesn't fit under anything else and just gets reported.
Mhm.
So.
So, and going back a little bit to resources, I'll share a quick experience that I've had with the SBDC in the past that I think is important to recognize. The SBDC is their goal, at least when I've worked with them, the experience has been that they try to help you do what you need to do to create your business. Because, you know, if they write your business plan for you, you probably don't know what's in that business plan. And so I've actually in the past had somebody at the SBDC that if somebody came in and said, I am terrible at writing anything, I cannot write this, I will not write my business plan, I need somebody to do it for me, they've referred that out to like a consultant of some sort to say, will you write this business plan for this person? You know, because it's the goal is we want to help you as much as possible. And the SBDC is a great place that they are, so they can help you. They're the person to hold your hand through the process, and they will coach you, but they will want you to grow along with the process rather than doing it for you. So.
And that is exactly right, Trenton. I have had people want me to write their business plan. I've never written a business plan for somebody, just me. It is us collaborating constantly over time. They'll write in it and they'll say, can you proofread it? And they'll put something more in it and I'll proofread it. It's the same thing with the websites. If there's no way for you to learn how to do that or maintain that, and that's a training that we do, then you need to outsource that to somebody else who can do that for you continually. So it's the same thing.
Excellent. All right, should I look for Director of SBDC at the Iowa University for similar services? So in Iowa. Oh, you're muted, Christine.
Sorry about that. I would imagine that you would, if you went onto that americasSBDC.com website and you put in your zip code, it'll tell you. And if that's the one that's in your area, that's who I would reach out to first. And they may send you some links for some registration and how they handle that. Just kind of like ours, where you would sign up for requesting for services. But yeah, I would.
So you've already taken the
I've put that link in the chat, so. All right. Okay, any other questions? This is our last chance, I guess, to bend Christine's ear. All right. How can people contact you? Can you share your email address in the chat or something like that? So if they have questions, they can ask you that.
Yep. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and email me if you would like. My phone number is, I'm on the road a lot, so emailing is probably one of the best ways to get a hold of me. When I'm in town, you know, my schedule gets full. I do have a scheduler on mine. If you wanted to actually talk with me and put a little bit of time, you know, schedule a little bit of my time and ask me a few questions, and then I can get you to where you need to be, you can do this. Let me see, let me just find the best link for that.
There's a question here, if real quick, while you're thinking or looking for that, could you have multiple DBA under an LLC?
Yes. I know people who do like they will start this umbrella like LLC, and then they will do different types of DBAs underneath it, because they're all different types of things. I've also seen people start multiple LLCs. So it all just depends on what you're doing and how you're wanting that to have, how you're wanting to run your business. So yeah, I actually have seen people do multiple DBAs. I've also seen people do multiple LLCs. So it just depends on what you're doing.
Well, I think branding is something that you want to look at.
Mhm.
If you don't want to put crazy weird stuff under, an LLC and just have all sorts of different things, because that can be challenging. Things can be taxed
yeah.
differently.
So underneath that link that I just put there, there's, yes, they do get registered separately. So that link there, I have a link under my picture that says, request an appointment. So that will let you go on. There's an online option, which opens up pretty much my whole calendar. So as we're meeting here online, that's a great way to do that, which I would imagine is what most of you would do if you wanted to visit for a few minutes. If not, great, but there's that other resource.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Christine.
So.
Let's see.
I don't know much about LLC. Do you teach preferences to be an LLC? Okay. So let me just tell you just a little bit, because I actually get this question a lot. So I'll just end with this really quick. You can start a business and you have to register a business. You can't open up a checking account without registering the business, whether you're doing it as a sole proprietor, a DBA, whatever that, because that's usually a DBA is going to work under a different ID, but it does register. It does register. An LLC is technically for a one-person business, and even sometimes a two. It is run just as a sole proprietor. And people are like, then why am I doing an LLC? Well, back in the day, there used to be a problem when people would start their business and somebody would get mad and they would sue them. They lost everything, their homes, their cars, any assets that they had. By starting your business under the LLC, it's a limited liability company. That means if you run it very strictly, and I will start them out strictly, all your financials need to go under one checking account. Do not run anything personal under that checking account. Any of your financials. Doesn't mean you can't pay yourself, but you mark it differently in your accounting. The LLC will protect all of your assets outside of the business. So if somebody were to be angry and sue your business, we've all seen these happen in the past. They can only sue for what's in the business. Now, here's the trick to that, and why I say you need to have a special checking account for that. If they can show that you have paid private expenses out of your business account, you have violated the LLC, and they now have access to all of your assets, personal assets. So that is why I always tell people it's super crucial. And some people will be like, I haven't been doing that. Okay, it doesn't mean that you can't start now and kind of clean things up and keep it very separate from your personal. A member draw is what they will usually call it when you pay yourself. You show you did a member draw, put it in your personal checking account and do the things that you need to do in that checking, with those personal things. But any business expense needs to just come out of that business thing, and personal expenses need to come out of a personal account. I cannot stress that enough to business owners, because I have seen people lose everything, even though they are an LLC, because they never bothered to separate the two things. You, as an LLC, one member LLC, you will still file your taxes, even though you have a different EIN number, you will still file your taxes under your social security number. It just gives you that protection. How would that work with a home business, such as paying your utilities? So your accountant is going to go through and say, okay, so here's the deal. What part of your business? And they will come up with a percentage. They will ask you a specific question. So you're going to want to work with your accountant on that, where they will actually tell you, I run several like this, and he'll say, do you have a space in your home that's dedicated specifically to your home business? And if it is not 100% dedicated to that, you cannot write that space off. So they will be very specific about that, but they will create this percentage of time that you spend running your business, and then they will calculate those differences for write-offs as far as utilities, cell phone use, if you don't have a cell phone, this is specific. So those are those things. Work with an accountant on those numbers, but that is how that would work.
Excellent. All right, so we will go ahead. We are almost at 1 o'clock, so
I'll be done.
we had lots of good questions. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you, Christine, for this presentation. I think it's been very helpful. I love the question answer aspect of this that helps people, in their business. So we will share this on our YouTube channel and on our website as well. So if anybody wants to see this, or if you want to share this with somebody, it will be posted soon in our Slack channel. So thank you very much, and you have a great day. If you have any questions for me, I'll stick around. Christine, if you need to go, we can. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you later.
I was here for the entrepreneurship, but I want to thank you.